Hello there, all you fine, friendly folks. Well, I apologize immediately for the sound of the air conditioner in the background, but it is another extremely hot day here in northern Ohio. It's been a very hot summer, and it continues to be so. But tomorrow it's supposed to be a high in the 60s, so you know I'm up there around Lake Erie somewhere, and it get plenty cold soon enough. It's like when the dwarves and the hobbits was complaining about carrying the heavy packs of food. They said, quit complaining. Those packs are going to get light soon enough. So I'm going to stop complaining about the damn weather because nobody gives a damn. Anyways, I got a high degree of irritability right now. And my last dose of Xanax was 7:30 p.m. last night, which means that's only about 17 hours. Fuck it, 18 hours. I don't know, 17, 18 hours since I had my last dose. But this isn't a couple. This isn't like 3 months ago when I was doing better. This is after all the nonsense I went through in the last few months and some updosing. Which at first, what I did was instead of spacing the quarter milligram out like 30 to 50 hours, that that time between them started shrinking, and then that wasn't enough to get through what I was going through. So I started taking a half a milligram sometimes instead of a quarter milligram so I could sleep at night and stuff while I was worried about running afoul of criminals and playing crippled Batman and whatnot. So, yeah, I'm paying for that right now for those 50s. They're marked as like .50 on my sheet. So I did that since a relative of mine is at death's door. I did that 6 times in the last 11 days where I took twice my taper. And so now I'm paying for it. And yeah, this is not fun. Um, Earlier today, I was like, I have a project I'm excited about, but like with guitar and like with other things, that irritability gets in the way. I was trying to talk to somebody last night about it. Of course, he wasn't no one's someone that's never been through benzo withdrawal. And I'm like, when you go through benzo withdrawal, the kind of thing you need to do is not like artsy fartsy things. You need to like break things, maybe shovel some snow, maybe, I don't know, anything physical. If you can manage it, you don't need to do something that takes patience, finesse, uh, a nice, calm, relaxed demeanor because you don't got that. And I was like, I don't know about the stuff that you do because he does like carpentry and um, construction type stuff. It's kind of like the opposite of me. I don't know how to do any of those things. I am not mechanical at all. So I was like, I don't know, if you can perform those tasks when you're super irritable and in a really bad mood, but, playing a guitar in a bad mood and irritability is just a recipe for disaster for me. And earlier today, I was working on a project of making uh, an audio story, and I don't know anything about computers or anything like that, so I'm just was I put a it's up here. I put a blue piece of tape or a blue band-aid over top of the camera so that you wouldn't have to look at me reading the story because I have in another account I did that and I'm like, you know what? People do not want to look at you reading your stupid fucking stories because it's distracting. They want to just picture what you're picturing in your head when you wrote it. So I was like, well, this time I'll just have like a black screen there, and it turned out to be a blue screen because it was a blue band-aid, but it was my favorite color of blue, so hey, that was cool. Anyways, I started trying to do that, and I realized that I wasn't in good voice, and somebody started cutting the grass outside the window, so I had to stop for a while and drink a cup of tea, start up again. The guy on the other side, he starts using a weed whacker, quit, start up again. Somebody calls me, that's a nuisance call, quit. Somebody called me that wasn't a nuisance call, quit. And then I was talking to them on the phone, and irritability set in. And so I'm just making this video to try to kill some time. And the problem is, I don't permit myself to do that anymore, where I just talk for an hour and a half just to kill time. Because, I just don't want to inflict that on anybody. There's too much of a good thing. If I could refer to myself as a good thing, there is such a thing as too much. So um, I'm not going to do that. So I don't know what the hell I'm even doing on here, because I'm going to be off of here in a half an hour, and that ain't much time. And I don't know what I'm going to do after that to take the irritability down a peg. And the problem is, man, I can't walk for shit. So it's like even housework or anything like that, it's going to make my legs hurt. It's going to make things worse. It's really a rock and a hard place situation. Because the hobbies that I do have where I don't have to use my legs, I am too goddamn irritable to do. And then the things that would reduce my irritability, like lifting weights, walking around, um, doing the much needed housework that needs done around here, that stuff will cause me physical discomfort. And I might not be able to walk later on when I have to go to the store. So, not an enviable position to be in. But yeah, I about my story that I'm eventually going to put on here, and it's eventually going to sound like crap, but I'm going to do my best with it because I'm not a sound engineer, is I realized this was my favorite short story that I ever wrote, and I'm like, I don't have a hard copy of this. I don't have a text file. I don't have anything of this except for some weak ass read of it on another account that I didn't even give a fuck about. I was like clearing my throat in it and coughing it and not even trying, because it was a response to some dude that says, "How dare you call yourself a writer?" And I'm like, well, you could at least uh, take a sample before you say it tastes icky. The samples in the grocery store. So you don't look at something and say, that's gross. That reminds me of a George Carlin bit where he said, I used to hate that when my parents would say, would offer me food, and I'm like, I don't want that. And they'd be like, how do you know that you don't like it if you haven't tried it? And then he would say, it came to me in a dream. So you don't have to have a reason for not liking anything on site. But anyways, he was just, he got annoyed by me. I mentioned him before. He's the Danish kid that had Asperger's, and was deriding me for calling myself a writer. And I was like, well, that's kind of what I do, you know. And he's like, well, you never been published, or you never tried to be published, or whatever. And I'm like, well, yeah, but, you don't have to be good at something to be something, you know. My kid isn't going to disappear because I'm no good at fucking. So, so I was like, here. I just did a half-assed copy of it. That's all I had of that story. So I actually sat, and it took me a couple of days, and I would listen to one line of me reading it, and then type it in, and then stop it, and listen to a line, and type it in, and it was annoying. It's not even that long of a story. It'll take like 20 to 25 minutes for me to read, and I have like a messed up internal speedometer. So when I'm reading, I think I'm reading slow, but I'm actually reading fast. So what I was working on today, I was like, okay, this doesn't even make any sense. This doesn't even sound like it sounded to me when I was doing it earlier. So, yeah, it's not going to be easy. And the finished product, it's just a vanity project for me. I think the story is awesome, and it's funny, and I like it. And it's definitely the best short story that I ever wrote. Um, but yeah, it's like shocked that I didn't have a copy of that anywhere except for just a lame ass read of it that was just thrown on as a token read with horrible sound quality and a bad mic and everything else. So, um, yeah. And the bad part is I really like doing stuff like that. I would love to just read on here. My mom used to read to me all the time when I was a kid. I would just like to just be on here reading to people, you know. That would be cool. But my Iceberg Hermit book, that was really hard to make. My audiobook I made, that was really hard to make, and the only people that liked it were kids that wanted to had to read it for school and wanted to get out of reading it, and they just thanked me for having something up there, but it's not very good. Um, the sound quality is just not good enough, and if the sound quality is not there, you can forget it. As far as I bought like mics and stuff. Like I got a really great set of headphones and a mic, and I don't even know how to make it work with this camera thing. I don't know how to do any of that crap. So I guess I have to like I'm not doing any of this stuff in withdrawal, people. You can forget that. But I would have to like be patient and find a video editing program, or I used to have this thing called WinMX for audio. I think it was called WinMX. I don't know what the hell it was called. That might have been a file sharing program or something. But anyways, I would have to like do a lot of stuff that takes way more I barely got patience enough to breathe right now. I can always ramble, and I can always talk, and I can always find words to fill the space. That's not a damn problem. The blank page, it don't intimidate me. The blank screen, it don't intimidate me. Because I don't really give a damn if I'm interesting, I guess, or what comes out of my mouth. I prize spontaneity, and that's when the interesting things can happen. Uh, anyways, so yeah, I am highly agitated and irritable, and I have to go out and walk around in stores and stuff around in about 4.5 hours. So I'm going to try to hold off on the quarter Xanax until I don't know, at least for a couple more hours. But yeah, it's really hard to reconcile myself to the fact that, yeah, you backslid, dude. I mean, you let those people win. They won. I mean, the squatters won. They got to stay here the whole time. None of them got arrested. They beat me. I got them the hell out of here, but they stayed here as long as they possibly could, literally till the last second. And they caused me to backslide on my taper, which, they said they were going to make my life a living hell as long as they were here. And if you know what withdrawal is, bingo. They won. Um, what can you do? I just have to go through the whole process all over again and hope for better luck. I have 2 appointments next week, Monday and Tuesday. Psychiatrist appointment, which is nothing, but dental appointment, which is everything, because I will be a mess going into that thing. The stress level I got, and I expect to lose some more of these, and trying to save up money for implants, since the last 5 years have been a freaking disaster in every kind of way. So anyways, yeah, I hear the lady upstairs stomping around, and while I was doing my audiobook, I was like, I wonder if I can actually record, the Jurassic Park routine that she does over top of me. And it actually picked her up, boom, 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 stomping around up there, and she's not that big. It's just, I think she might have some kind of like problem with her back, or she walks a little odd. I haven't really had any conversations with her yet, because I haven't felt like conversing with strangers, frankly. So, yeah, I had a weird conversation, man. This is a very weird conversation, but it always seems funny to me that I'm like a hermit. Now with this withdrawal thing, I just don't want anything to get on my nerves, or any extra people. People are freaking annoying to me in this state. So I'm sitting on the porch, and I got to go to this appointment. This is a few days ago, and when I made that last video or whatever. But anyways, I'm sitting out on the porch. This guy's talking to me, and he's like, "Yeah, that car's like a 2015." And I'm like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Yeah, someday I'll tell you the story of how we got that." And I'm like, "Okay." And then I don't know, it's too good a story not to tell. But anyways, so he's talking. He's like, "Yeah, that's the result of what would you call it? A lawyer settlement." He's like, because one of my kids was jumping on a trampoline, and the trampoline broke, and the spring from the trampoline put out his eye. And then the kid comes out there because he's going to some kind of doctor appointment or something, and the both of them are going. And he's proud, he's proud of his kid. You can tell he's proud, you know. So he's like, because he was talking before the kid came out, he was like, yeah, that never stopped him. He said that happened to him when he was young, but it never stopped him. He played baseball, I don't know how. He played sports. He lived a normal life and stuff. It never slowed him down. He's really proud of his kid, and his kid comes out there and he puts his arm around his kid. I never met the kid before, don't even know his name, and he's like, yeah, it's strange because like you think that he could only see stuff on the right side, but he can even like somehow manage to see stuff on the left. Like if something was coming at him at the left, and I'm looking at his kid, and his kid's squirming. Like maybe he's been through that routine a few times before. And so I had to cut it off. So I said, "Look, dude, I'm not going to try to punch him or anything. He's too big." And he laughed, and then they got in their car, and the kid breathed through a sigh of relief. But the kid was squirming and shit over that, because I don't imagine he's proud of only having one eye like his father is proud of him. But I'm trying to remember if I don't think I've ever been embarrassed by fatherly pride before, but I did have sympathy because I recognized that expression on his face. But yeah, that was like, that was 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm hearing about the son's eye getting put out by a trampoline accident, and then it paying for that car that starts itself and parks itself and all this stuff. Um, wow. So yeah, that's a story. Uh, Something's wrong with my throat, or it's like I was noticed when I was reading that I wasn't sounding good. I don't know if I'm sleeping enough or anything like that. I don't know. Like I said, I got to go back into the tapering process, and that's not fun. And yeah, it's not fun when you have to do stuff like that. Especially, it's like, especially if you live alone, you don't have any choice in the matter. You can't have, or you don't have people that you can say like, I need you to do this and I need you to do that, and that you're comfortable asking that of them. You know. And my people right now, they got like uh, somebody in the family that I'm close to that is still in intensive care. I thought they were gonna take the individual out of intensive care, but I guess they changed their mind. I quit asking them about medical information on them because they keep getting it wrong anyway. So at first I thought she had a brain aneurysm, then it was a brain aneurysm in the leg, and then she's going to get out of ICU, and then they're going to keep her in ICU and all that. So that's weighing on me, and I can't really visit her in ICU. I visited my brother in ICU, and because of my medical history, uh, I had to like run out of there. And this is when I was young and strong. I had to run out of there to keep from vomiting because I've been in ICU uh, a few times, and the smells and everything was all the same. So it just brought all the horror back upon me, and I ran out into the lobby, and I had read it somewhere or whatever, but it's probably like a myth, like stop, drop, and cover for the radioactive bomb. But I put my head down between my knees, and because I thought it would quell nausea because I didn't see no place to vomit, and so I'm not putting myself through that for somebody that's probably bombed out of their head anyway. Just or to put on a show or whatever. I'm not doing that. So they put her in a regular room. I'll go visit her, but I'm not going into no ICU. And I believe I told the story on here before about how I de-intubated myself in the ICU. So yeah, I've had some experiences involving ICUs where I actually pulled the tube out of my throat myself because I couldn't breathe. So anyways, drama, yeah, lots of drama in my life at times. Like I said, man, my life is a war. A lot of boredom, mostly boredom, interspaced with little periods of complete terror. So, yeah, this is rough though. Yeah, this is familiar territory. That doesn't make it any better. You're not like, oh, this cold's easier to take. I've had colds before. You're like, oh God, I feel awful. I just feel like, ugh. That's how I feel now. and then I can't distract myself by doing my sedentary hobbies, like I said, where I sit on my ass and I can't. Maybe I'll try to do some housework. I don't know, but I should probably just concentrate on just walking around the store and picking up some of the items I need. Um, Very difficult. I don't know what the hell I was thinking even getting on here, because like I said, I got that rule now that I'm not allowed to just kill time on here at y'all's expense. Um, I could try to tell a joke. I tried to tell this joke before, though. It's a very difficult joke to tell, but it's my favorite joke. We'll call this the octopus joke. I'll have to take a drink of tea before I tell you this joke, though. An octopus walks into a bar named McGregor's. He goes into the bar and he notices there's nobody in here. He's like, this is evening and everything. He's like, there's almost no people in here. So the octopus goes up to the bartender and says, man, it's pretty dead in here. And he goes, yeah, business hasn't been too good lately. And the octopus says, but what you need is a live musical act. That's what you need. That would bring people in here. And I'm going to tell you something. I can play any musical instrument that exists. And I will work and fill this place up for you. You compensate me in a proper fashion. So the bartender says, you serious? You're telling me you can play any musical instrument? I don't know if the guy's an octopus racist. I don't know, but he just doesn't believe this octopus can do this crap. So he says, yeah. So he goes, okay, hold on a minute. Goes in the back room and gets him a guitar. Hands the octopus the guitar. Now the motherfucker got 8 arms, so he's doing all kind of Jimi Hendrix crazy stuff. Tentacle tapping up and down the fretboard. He's just going to town. The bartender is just floored. He's amazed. So he's like, God damn, you weren't kidding about being able to play a guitar at least. He said, but you said any musical instrument, right? And Octopus said anything. So he goes back in the back room and he comes out with a saxophone. So the octopus gets on the saxophone. He starts making like Charlie Parker with that motherfucker, man. He's just wailing away on that thing. And then the bartender just looks at him and shakes his head, and I said, it's like, I gotta hand it to you. You can play a saxophone. Then he just happens to look over in the corner of his Scottish bar, and he's like, oh, because he sees a bagpipes on the wall there. They're just up there for display ordinarily, but it's a functioning pair of bagpipes. So he said, okay, Mr. Octopus, if I find an instrument that you can't play, will you work for tips only for the first month that I employ you? And Octopus just shakes his head and he said, man, what have I been telling you? I could play anything. Anything. And he goes, okay. He sticks out his tentacle, and the guy grabs his tentacle, and they shake hands, and they got a deal. So he goes over to the wall, and he gets the bagpipes. And, you know, the octopus, you don't know what to expect, but he takes the bagpipes, and he gives them to the octopus and says, here you go. The octopus, he just lays the bagpipes on the floor, and he's just kind of looking at him like that. And, you know, the bartender, he thinks he's got him. He's like, what's the matter? Can't you play it? And the octopus says, play it? If I can figure out how to get those stupid looking plaid pajamas off of it, I'm gonna fuck it. That's my favorite joke. I'm not gonna explain why the joke is funny. It's either funny to you or it's not. That joke is my favorite joke because of I'm going to do it anyway because I'm a liar, I guess. But just because the mental image of the bagpipes, you know, with all the legs played out on the floor, the plaid pajamas thing, and you know, the octopus has got all those arms, and the bagpipes got all the pipes and everything. Just says that's beautiful, man. But the first time I heard that joke, Jackie the Joke Man Martling told it. That's the only guy I heard tell the joke anyway. So I don't know if it's an old joke or where it came from or whatever. But yeah. I like that one. Yeah, I feel pretty weird, pretty damn weird, and I don't like it. I don't know how much longer I should wait until I take that stupid shit. And I really was irritated. Like the last appointment that I went to it specifically because my doctor kept hounding me to go. My regular MD, that I call Doctor Wacky Pants on here. So Doctor Wacky Pants is wanting me to go see this cardiologist so much that he's having his receptionist bother me for months. Have you seen the cardiologist? I'm like, no, I had to reschedule. No, it's on this date, and it just kept bothering me. So I'm like, I had this appointment coming up with my MD on last Tuesday. And so Monday, I scheduled an appointment to the cardiologist so that I would be able to walk in there and say, haha, I went to the cardiologist. Now please stop bothering me. So I know this is what's irritating about anxiety, and maybe you can relate to this. I know exactly what the appointment's got to be. I know it's going to be nothing. I know they're going to hook me up to an EKG. They're going to tell me my heart's fine because I can feel when my heart's messing up. And they're going to talk to me and ask me a bunch of stupid questions. That's all the appointment's going to be. I go in there and I'm a mess, man. It's like I'm going to the gallows or the chopping block. I'm like so irritated with myself. And I realized that was the first appointment I had gone to in like forever because I was just putting my whole life off on account of having death threats against me and stuff. So I realized, that's probably why that was. Maybe I'll do better, but I don't really, you know, when I go to the dentist, I'm gonna be one miserable son of a bitch, man. When I go to the dentist on Tuesday, because that's always a stressful appointment for me. I'm never relaxed going into the dentist, so I'll have to be loaded to go in there, and then you're playing around with the updosing thing again. So yeah, I would like to strangle every one of them squatters, all those people that messed up my taper. And I know somebody told me like you have to take some of the responsibility for that. Well, yeah. Well, you weren't in the situation, and you ain't all crippled up, and you ain't sleeping 40 feet from people threatening to kill you. So I had to do what I had to do to survive. And I lost all that ground, and now it's only um, it's 17 and 12. 17 and 12. What's 12 and 7? 19. It's only 19 hours since I had my last dose, and I'm like this. So yeah, it's upsetting. It's not, you know, I just hope that nothing catastrophic like that happens to me. I mean, I'm dealing with the possible death of a loved one right now, too. He's very, very ill, and I've been in ICU for a week, so that should tell you something, man. Um, so, I don't know. What are you going to do if the stuff just keeps dropping on you like this? You still have to. You can't just say the hell with it and just stay loaded. And take more. You have to kind of like do at least keep on top of it somehow, taper wise, and try to find other ways to cope by telling octopus jokes and whatever you got to do. But yeah, my brain has not been very good. I watched the new movie, The Predator, and I just watched it on the computer, some Russian bootleg or something like that. I couldn't follow the plot. I couldn't follow the plot to The Predator. It's like my brain's not doing good. Then I was watching a video about the McHale and Parrish trade with the Boston Celtics, and I'm like, they lost me way back in 1976 because I guess the trade started in '74 and it was a whole big thing or whatever. And I'm like, you know, I can't. Yeah, my brain don't function too good. I can't follow things. And I was like, yeah, I remember what this was like with the fog brain and stuff. I don't know why my throat hurts, but hopefully I can get to do my audio book because I got it worked out. My audio story, rather, I got it worked out the way I want to. With the cadence, the voices, the emphasis on which words, and everything. I just have to perform it, and I have to be, when you read or when you talk, that's whatever state you're in comes through. If you're agitated or you're angry or whatever, it's going to come through. You might be able to fake that to a cop, for instance, and act pleasant for a little while, but when you're reading for like 20 minutes, that's going to come through. If you're having joy and you're having fun with what you're doing, that comes through too. So, you know, that's why I couldn't do it today, is because I listened to what I heard, and all I heard was somebody that was agitated and irritated and talking too fast. So, yeah, I'm going to do that. It doesn't really matter to me if, uh, yeah, it doesn't really matter to me if anybody listens to it or not, just because I'm like that. I wrote it like 20 years ago. I just think it's cool. So, yeah, it's like, it's gonna do it anyway, whether nobody watches it or 100 people watching it. Don't matter. I'm gonna do it anyway because I think it's cool and I like it. And it's actually fun when my throat's not hurting like it is now. It's actually fun to read that, and get into the character and stuff. It was actually kind of fun. Like being someone like me is like being a politician or a bank president. We have reputations to protect. I just can't let you walk out of here. It's just like fun pretending to be an actor and doing voices and stuff. And Lord knows I need all the fun I can get. So that's 30 minutes and 47 seconds, it says on there. So do the 30-minute rule. I will talk to you some other time. Adios.